Good morning. What day is it? Hump day! T's still sleeping. Shh. Haircut. So, thank you again for the responses yesterday. I'm getting ready for something at work, so I haven't had a chance to respond to everybody. I will respond to everybody, I promise. You got to remember that as we climb the mountain of success, as we travel through this journey, asking for there to be less problems is silly. Don't ask for less problems. Ask for more solutions. Ask for more you. It isn't about that you need less things to happen to you. It's that you need to expand your abilities. So do you remember? This is an example to put on a whiteboard, but imagine I'm drawing on a whiteboard, okay? So the middle is you, and then there's a circle around you. That circle is your sphere of influence. That's the area of the world that you are comfortable with. We all have an area that we can manage. Depending on what it is. Some people have a bigger area that they can manage. Everybody has different areas that they can manage. I'm not able to build anything or fix anything, but I can manage difficulties, and I can manage stress, and I can manage those types of things better. Chaos, and when things are falling apart, that's something that I can manage. Navigating travel is something that I can manage. Change is something that I can manage. Building a building, not something that I can manage. Fixing a car, not something that... So you have this sphere of influence. And then what happens is a problem comes along, and it's outside your sphere of influence. And what do most people do? Most people ignore it. Most people just act like it's not happening. Well, then time passes, and what happens? Another problem comes along, and it's outside your sphere of influence. And again, most people ignore that. And then a third one will come along, and usually the third one is much more massive. The universe has decided it's time for you to change. Now, so imagine I'm drawing this. You're the dot that's in the center. There's a sphere. And you got to go outside your sphere in order to learn how to solve this problem. Well, when you do that and go outside to learn how to solve the problem, the whole sphere expands at the same rate. So you don't just expand in this one direction, you expand in every direction. You grow, and now your sphere of influence encompasses a whole bunch of new things. Why is experience so important when it comes to handling things? Because it creates confidence. It creates certainty. The reason that visualization works so much is because your brain doesn't know any difference between something that you actively visualize and something that you actually do. And so if you visualize yourself doing something, to your brain, you've already done it. And it'll create a huge amount of certainty for yourself that you're in fact going to be able to do it. That's why Roger Bannister was able to be successful breaking the 4-minute mile by visualizing it over and over and over again. So when problems come along, they expand our ability to not only deal with that problem, but to deal with all kinds of other problems. They're there to drive us. They're not there to hurt us. They're not there to beat us down. Now, obviously, many times it certainly can seem that way. If you deal with the problems that I deal with people at work, you would look at it and go, this is really there to drive me. Because some problems are absolutely devastating. But if you look at them as devastating, then you're going to be devastated. If you look at it as a challenge in order to make myself the most of who I'm supposed to be, now then you're going to become the most of who you could be. Oprah has said over and over again that had she not come from the situation that she did, She doesn't believe that she would have had the confidence to go attempt what she did. Because she came from that background, when people told her that things weren't going to go work out, she said, what do I have to lose? You know, Jim Carrey, the reason that he approached his life with such, reckless abandon, to use the term of my high school football coach, is because he'll tell you that his dad was more talented than him, that his dad was a great comedian, but he never took the chance because he had a family and he wanted to take care of his family, and so he didn't want to risk losing everything. So he took a regular job, he did what he was supposed to do in order to take care of his family, and they ended up homeless anyway. His family ended up living in a car. And so when Jim saw that, he said, well, there's nothing to lose. If I'm going to end up living in a car following what you're supposed to do, I'm going to do what you're not supposed to do, and I'm going to follow my gut. And he went to Hollywood, and he stopped at and Jim believes in a lot of mystical stuff, okay? So he stopped at a lady who did a reading, a fortune teller of sorts, a psychic. And she told him that he would be a millionaire in 5 years, and he would be in hit movies, and he would be this, and he would be that. And he walked out and wrote himself a check for $1 million. And off he went. And he had no fear whatsoever about what was going to happen. And so when he went out on the stage as a comedian, he started doing stand-up in all the local shops. He started at the Laugh Factory and all those places. He didn't care what people thought about what he did, meaning the other comedians or the managers. He was going to do whatever he could in order to make people laugh. And he really believed that his ability to make people laugh was going to be physical. So like he would go up on stage and just throw himself on the stage and try to wiggle in between the gap between the stage and the stairs. I mean, he would do outrageous stuff. 5 years later, he booked Ace Ventura: Pet Detective. And he was able to, if he wanted to, he was able to cash that check, because after that, then he booked Cable Guy. By the way, at that time, his dad also passed away, and he put the check in his dad's casket. The experience for those two people growing up made it so they felt like they had nothing to lose. And as a result, they burnt their boats, and they went after what they wanted and didn't care what the consequences were, because to them, no matter what the consequences were, not trying would have been worse. And the consequences couldn't come near what they'd already lived in their life. You know, I know quite a few people that have gone to prison, friends and clients, even a coworker at one time. And one thing about that experience is, if you're around somebody that's been to prison, they'll look at people and say, there's nothing you can do to hurt me, other than if you try to go after my family. And if you do that, well, then we all know what the consequences of that are. But when they get in a situation in business, where somebody says, this isn't going to work, they'll look at you and say, you can't hurt me. I've been to prison. And if I can handle that, I can handle anything that you're going to try and do. Because that's the worst that can happen to me, and I've already handled the worst. When you've already gone through what's the toughest, you operate with no fear. And when you operate with no fear, you're willing to take the risks, and you're willing to put in the effort. It's not just that you take the risk, it's that you take the risk with all the effort in the world. Remember, success follows movement. Success follows energy. Success follows hunger. Think about the people that are the most successful people, the people that we talk about all the time, and then think about the drive that they have, the amount of effort that they put into what they do. And then one last thing for today. Problems, when a problem comes, then you got to find out a solution, right? Solution always equals change. Change always equals a new problem. So problems are part of life that are never going to go away. So if you say to yourself, I just wish I didn't have any problems, well, that's not going to happen. I wish I had total security. Well, that's prison. What you want to wish for is a better quality problem. You know, I made so much money this year, I'm going to have to pay a lot in taxes. Quality problem. I have a ton of people who want to date me. Quality problem. I've lost so much weight and I'm in such great shape that my clothes don't fit and I have to go get a new wardrobe. Quality problem. You know, I don't know which car I want to drive this morning. Quality problem. You know, my child wants to talk to me all the time and I have to find the time because they love talking to me. Quality problem. Problems aren't ever going to go away until you die. So instead of not wanting problems, you want better quality problems. And as soon as you deal with that problem, you're going to have change and you're going to have another one. So be ready. Know that they're coming. As Jim Rohn said one time, rather than not wanting waves to come and hit you, learn to be a surfer. In the winter, some people freeze to death, others ski. Have a great day, everybody. Happy Wednesday. Thank you very much for watching. We're all in this together. Let's take care of each other.